Imo Ndienugu. Welcome to the VAR Podcast, where we put conversations under the spotlight and, of course, ask the questions that matter. Today's episode is going to be very interesting, a special one at that. We'll be chatting with a renowned fashion icon who recently lit up the runway at the Enugu Street Fashion Show. We're going to dive into his journey, his creative process, and the bigger story behind using fashion as a tool for cultural expression. So stick around. It's going to be an inspiring conversation, like I said earlier on. My name is Ebele Soma Obu, and of course, I am not alone in the studio. I have right here in the studio, I have Edan Richard Onyekachi. He is the executive director of Richclan Apparel. Welcome to the studios.
Thank you.
How are you doing? You look amazing, by the way. Aside the fact that I commended Ambassador's outfit, I love your attire, the combination. It looks amazing.
Thank you so much.
Guess we are here to have an interesting conversation, especially about the runway, the Enugu Street Fashion Show that happened yesterday. I need for you to tell us exactly how it felt, showcasing your work at the Enugu Street Fashion Show. What story were you telling, or were you trying to tell people with the pieces that you brought together to the run show?
Wow, thank you for this opportunity. I must start from there. The stories I have to pass through, like most of the designs we create, I create it out of sometimes my passion, sometimes I think beyond what is in the stock market.
Okay.
Sometimes I think about our culture, our tradition. So most times my creativity does pass information. That's the most important. There is always a story attached to a certain design, all the designs we create.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit of it? The kind of information you try to pass across?
Well, just like my last, I think my most fast-selling collection now is the Onye collection. That's the collection I built with ancient and CBD Igbo symbol. And what triggered me to create that very collection is, one, there was a sign that almost all the Igbos use during the olden days to communicate to each other, and that is CBD symbol. And currently in school, there's nothing like CBD Igbo again. You understand? Just like when I was about to embark on the project, I have to meet some persons and I have to interrogate them about that CBD symbol. You understand? So, and I choose love and I choose wealth, because in this current stage in life, let me say in this present generation, what we are most facing now is either money challenge or dispute. And that dispute is because of the lack of love. You understand? So I used that very CBD symbol of wealth and symbol of love to pass information to the youths. And the information is that if you are very much patient and dedicated in what you are doing, there is much possibility of you to achieve wealth. So in my own side, the easiest way to create wealth is to be patient and to love. You understand? If you can be patient, then that means you can love each other, because love is patient in itself. And patience is a virtue. It's not everybody that has patience, you understand? So that is just it. If you are patient and dedicated in what you are doing, then there is possibility of you to achieve wealth. And at the back of the clothes, what I used was 4 market days in Igbo land. That is Eke, Oye, Afo, and Ombo. You understand? So it's a kind of a prayer that if you can be dedicated, be patient, love one another, then definitely we are going to achieve wealth.
Interesting. But then again, how long have you been doing this? Like, what exactly motivated or inspired you to incorporate Igbo and CBD into your brand?
Well, I started this fashion journey back 2019. That was because I once served under a pharmaceutical shop. I was there as a trainee. You understand? So after the whole process, the person that was supposed to help me open my own office told me that he had issues. You understand? And by then, I already have love for fashion. Right from day one, I love dressing well. You understand? So by then, I don't have any option than to fight for myself. So I started selling clothes online. So along the line, while I was selling those clothes, I started reasoning, how does people create this very design?
At what point did you start asking yourself that question?
By then, I started going to Lagos because I used to use like 50,000 to go to Lagos.
What year was this?
This is 2019.
Oh, okay.
I go to Lagos with 50,000, both my transportation and I can use 30,000 to buy my product. Then use 20,000 for transport. Though then I was not actually after the profit. I was just trying to get the experience. So there was one certain man. This man I used to buy product from him. He's an importer. He used to go to China himself to buy products. So at some point, I was like, this particular design, it was actually vintage shirt that I used to sell off from there. I was like, this particular design, I used to get it 10,000 naira, like shorts vintage shirt. As of then, I used to get it 10,000. But when I enter the market, I'll get to see the same print as low as 4,000. You understand? So I was like, why is it like this? I started checking the finishing. The both finishing is not the same. One is Nigerian made, and one has foreign standard.
Okay.
You understand? But the funny part is that both of them were sold. It passes through the same process, the same industrial process. But what makes it different is that maybe we Nigerian producers doesn't have the necessary equipment to create the finest finishing that we craft for. But in terms of ideas, I believe that what Oyibo can do, we can actually do much more better than them.
Okay, interesting. Now, for those who are just joining in, we are having a conversation about the just concluded Enugu Street Fashion Show. It happened right here on Sunday, and I have the Executive Director Richclan Apparel right here with us in the studio, telling us about his journey, as well as fashion and identity. When you talk about fashion and identity, there are a lot of people who use fashion to identity. You can use, if I see what you're wearing and I see Ambassador wear, I'll be like, okay, I think it's Richclan that styled you up, right? Exactly. So fashion is kind of like an identity. So how do you see fashion shaping the way the world views Igbo culture? Because to be honest, when he sent me the topic, I was like, the CDB. I'm like, really? So we have someone who is incorporating the CBD in his fashion line. So do you think young designers can stay rooted in culture while still appealing to global fashion trends?
For me, in my own personal view, I see fashion as a lifestyle. You understand? Like my own sense now, I use culture to run most of my production, but that doesn't mean another person has different ideas.
Of course.
You understand? But me personally, I'm trying to deliver a message, and that message is that what our forefathers did, all those things that happened in the olden days, is very much possible to put them in form of art. You understand? Then send back the message to the street using fashion. You understand? Like me now, if I'm in pains, there is a design I can create. If I'm high, maybe I took some liquor, I took some tipsy, then there is a certain inspiration that comes in me, and it's always cultural. Like most of my pieces, I name it after Igbo. And what triggered that is like now I used to see, when I was into boutique business, I used to see some brandings in clothes. You might be wearing a clothes branded after maybe something like ambulance. You can see some polos now branded with ambulance or idiot. You understand?
And you see people wear it.
People wear it now. What they calculate is the quality, not the inscription on the clothes. You understand? So because of that, I was like, okay, if they can be using English to write whatever they want, and this thing is still possible to sell, then I can be using Igbo. I can be bringing back all those Igbo words, all those Igbo ways of communication, like using the CBD signs. I can bring it back, and people will start to appreciate the craft. But now I have to, if I'm using CBD Igbo, then I'll use the symbol and detail the meaning of the symbol, because currently I don't think if any school, it's only unless you're an art student, that's the only way you can have idea of CBD Igbo. They don't teach in CBD Igbo in schools. No?
And it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know, as you are talking, I'm imagining what your pieces are like. Do you have any designs with you or any of your work? For real, just help me quench these tastes. I want to see what his pieces are like.
Sure.
You have some of them. So which means after this recording, I really want to see them. Now, see, some people say that symbols can be misused. There are a lot of people that are misusing it. Like some people, sometimes they use these things, but they don't know exactly what they are doing, right? But then again, how will you say that you're using your own CBD to preserve or to reinvent the Igbo culture?
It is reinventing and preserving at the same time.
Okay.
The reason why I say so is that in Igbo adage, it says that a child cannot wake up and say that the food that his mother cooked is bitter, I guess.
This is the interpretation, and you first talk the Igbo one first before you talk the English.
That's the way they say it in Igbo. I do believe that the ways of our forefathers is not evil. There are, in any good, there is bad side of it. But me, I'm going after the good side of our forefathers. You understand? I'm going back. Like me now, if I want to create crafts, I might create a craft and name it after AK. You understand? Before I name that craft AK, I'll have to ask questions about that particular market day called AK. What it symbolizes in Igbo land. You know, different parts of Igbo, in terms of markets, there are people that their parts do what they normally come out is in Oye. There are parts that do come out Afo, AK and Ogo, depending on where you are coming from. All those things have stories attached to it. You understand? Like those that is into maybe should I say idol worshipping or ordinary Igbo. You know, idol worshipping is different from ordinary Igbo. Yeah, Omenani Igbo, that is the ordinary. You get.
I need for you to tell us what moment has been the biggest turning point in your career.
The biggest what?
The biggest turning point in your career.
Man, this is a very big question.
I know.
I've had several encounters in this very career of mine. This fashion journey is really tough. When I started my own fashion back 2022 officially. From 2019, I was just selling clothes. You understand? So 2022, I started making footwears. Then 6 months afterwards, I ventured into clothing officially. So I was producing both footwear and clothes at the same time. The first challenge that almost made me to quit was the very first day. I left my factory, my production house around 1 a.m. in the night. So, and coming back the next day, I found the place open. Two of my machines, my production machines, were no longer there. You understand? So I was very, very depressed. I felt like maybe God don't want me to continue with this very craft. I wanted to give up then anyways, but then a brother came up and gave me one machine. It was not actually a dash. He just gave me to be using for a while so I can be able to acquire another one. So I was using that particular machine until I got extra 2. Then the guy took his. You understand? I think that is the first challenge I had in this very journey. Other ones is
minor things.
Other ones is just normal, just something that money can solve.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. Now you are an OG in the industry.
All right, thank you, the CEO Richclan Apparel. There's something I will want to ask you then, because you talked about the incorporating CBD to fashion based on your creativity. We've looked at the Nollywood and they've sold so many wrong narrations and narratives as regards the Ndibo. Like I kept on asking, I've never seen bearers, like the native doctors, like they paint them to, there's this white inscription of Unzu, and a native doctor, and the putting on of white and red to depict a native doctor. So what I want to ask now is this, because like AB asked you before now, that some people misuse the signs, this NCBD signs, some people misuse it. But now you're coming to correct those ills about Ndibo. You created 2 brands, and I want to ask on that. Ikenga and Surugede. And from movies and all those things, that's an Surugede Buegunde more. And you were saying something that sometimes I know creativity also has to do with the spirit. So why Surugede? And why Ikenga? We know how active Ikenga could be. So why those names?
All right. Just like you said, Surugede, Begunde Mo. You understand?
Yeah.
And that particular Ikenga, to my own personal understanding, Ikenga is like this. You are an Ikenga. You understand?
Throw more light.
Every man is an Ikenga. You understand? What gives ideas, inspiration is Agu. Agu is the spirit of, like wisdom, creativity. You understand? Like normally in my place, if you see someone that is much talented, especially in your craft, you can always tell me it's like Naagu Junior daughter. You understand? It's Naagu Jimado. What it means is that person is blessed with the spirit of creativity. That is Agu. You understand? So now my crafts, my concern about our culture and tradition, that I would like to use that craft to kind of pass information to the people, correcting those wrong impressions that let me say actors and actresses have impacted on them already. You understand?
Yeah.
So that is just it.
Okay, so most times I hear people say, and from the little relationship and what I've garnered about your concept and you as a person, I hear people always say Ikenga the active. Yeah. And most times the home video, and they've given us so many reasons to think and believe that most of the things our forefathers do as a result of culture, that they're evil. Now you talked about Agu. If what Agu means from this divide, then also that means in the Christendom, like it is being said, that there's a spirit in a man, but it is the inspiration of the Almighty that gives understanding. So that means it is likened to that same Agu.
Of course.
My boy Agu. So when people say Ikenga the active, I want to now ask you, are you a traditionalist?
Okay.
Are you a traditionalist?
All right. The Ikenga the active, just like I said when I was discussing with AB.
Yeah.
You cannot say that your father is evil. If somebody that gave birth to you, someone that brought you up, is evil, then that means that you are a son to an evil man, and you self, you are evil. You understand?
Okay.
So if your father is late, I said every man is an Ikenga.
Yeah.
You understand? If your father is late, your father automatically becomes your ancestor.
Yeah, okay.
You understand? Your father becomes your saint in Igbo belief.
Yeah.
You understand? Just like Saint Michael, Saint Kiniko, all of them is ancestors.
Yeah.
I don't think if they make a living person a saint, I've never seen one anyways.
Yeah.
But it must be someone that has passed away. So that Ikenga can be the spirit of if while mentioning Ikenga, you can be referring to your ancestor being your father, which might be your guardian angel, depending on how you understand it. You understand? But then, if I can be praying to God to do something, and I will still call upon my ancestors, which is maybe my father or my great-grandfather, which if they should join their hands and intercede on my behalf, then that Ikenga will be very much active.
So that's when we now say
Yes.
Ikenga the active.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I want to say a very big thank you to the chairman, Richclan Apparel. Thank you for this time out with you. It's really been awesome. And we want to also thank our listeners and viewers too. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Today, we've listened to a very renowned fashion icon and the marvelous thing he's doing with Igbo culture and identity.
Okay, but then, of course, before we conclude this particular session, earlier on, before we started recording, I was asking you the exciting things we should expect next from your brand.
All right. It's a dream, and I do believe that dream do come true if only we can be persistent and be patient. Just like I explained when I was talking about my collection titled Only Ndidi, which I used in CBD Igbo to create. So if my vision shortly is that Igbos, because I'm starting from Igbo land, because I'm only Igbo, you understand? So our big dream and what people should be expecting from us is that very soon we won't be traveling outside the country to get ready-made wears. Something like polos, joggers, shirts, and so many others. So we are working, I and my team, we are working back to back to make sure that we deliver exploit both to the rich masses and to the poor. You understand? So Richclan is a household name. You understand? That's the dream. So, and we do believe not just that we are going to be creating, but we are going to be creating designs and a design that inspires.
Of course.
You understand? A design that pass information positively to the people. You understand? Like, my brand doesn't preach God. You understand? And my brand doesn't preach Satan. You understand? What we preach is our culture. Ejirimara ndị Igbo. You understand? And we are using that concept to pass information to the people that Igbo nwere ihe. You understand? Anyị bụ ndị Igbo, anyị bụ odogwu. You understand? We can do much more better than the whites if only that we are allowed to use the necessary machines that we are supposed to use. It's all about money.
All right, and then finally, what advice would you give to a young creative in Enugu and across Nigeria who wants to merge culture with creativity just like you are doing?
The only advice I will have to give them is just short and is brief. And that advice is that everything is very possible. You understand? Once it's your passion, not just that maybe you are saying that Richclan is doing it, or you are saying that this so-and-so person is doing it. That maybe this thing is the reason why you want to do it. Fashion sometimes is not all about the amount you have. It's not all about the money you have. You understand? It's all about what you have in you.
Okay.
You understand? The inspiration in you, your passion, your zeal over the creativity. That's what matters. I would just encourage them that if Richclan can actually come up to this stage and people are commending us, then it means that some other person can even do much more better than I can do. You understand? So I pray for all my brothers out there, maybe that have passion over fashion, that maybe they will even win much more bigger than all the whitish brand that we hear today. Balenciaga, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and so many others. I do believe my brand is much more better than that.
Ooh. Okay, you know what? We actually need to see your drip. Like, we need to rate you. I need for us. In fact, for you, not me. Because I think I love the outfits. But then, who am I? I don't have an opinion, So, I need for you to even stand, so that we'll see your drip. What you're putting on your head. your attire. In fact, if it's what he's wearing on his leg, I'm not want to say, but maybe when you guys see what he's putting on, you can now tell if really he is a fashionista. Just take a look at him now. I for hear you, but I don't go hear you.
Tradition. This is culture meets modern lifestyle. See, I'm putting on this one.
You know, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about, like his leg.
Yes,
Interested. All right, thank you.
What I'm wearing here, so to some persons, if they see someone wearing this kind of thing, they term that person a native doctor. So he's still part of what this is just animal skin. You understand? I cherish anything that has to do with culture. In fact, I'm working on generating fabrics with animal skin. You understand? I'll make sure that I'll kill the animal myself. You understand? Then from the skin, I will extract the skin and perform some maybe experiment, and afterwards I'll use it to produce.
Interesting.
So this particular thing is still animal skin. It's not charm.
That clarity was needed. Anyways, thank you so much, Executive Director Richclan Apparel. Thank you for dropping by our studios and, of course, sharing with us all of the information you did about your journey so far and where you are headed. We see you at the top, and of course, right here at the VAR Podcast, we wish you all the best. Now, that's it on today's edition of the VAR Podcast. A big thank you to our guests, like I said earlier on, and thank you as well for listening. Remember, the only thing you owe us is to like, share, and comment. If you don't do it, no, don't worry, nothing will happen. But please like, share, and comment. Tell people about the VAR Podcast and let us grow this community together. My name is Ebele Soma Obu. Until we come your way next time.